in America, let me tell you, living in America, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Most black people fuck with Drake's music more than they do with Kendrick because it's just too out there a little bit. Most black people.
Definitely. I'm not even American, and I can sense that.
I was like, I better have your loving. And some black boys, they said, yo, that old motherfucker know all Drake's words. That old motherfucker know. Everybody was listening to that song. So in America, if you go to the hood, same thing. The biggest album that I heard in the hood in the last 20 years was In the Club by 50 Cent. Everybody was listening to it.
Kendrick is probably the best at taking rap complexity and transferring it in the context of pop culture. Every real deep down rap nerd, lyricist, somebody who's familiar with the culture of rap as it's evolved in all of its diverse skills from each and every state and flow, they'll be able to tell you Kendrick Lamar is not the best at what rap is and has been. The best at taking those lyrical elements and translating that complexity into good songwriting. You know, songs like Swimming Pools, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe are simple club bops, but they have a layer of social conscientiousness about them. They have double entendres, they have punchlines. He's really good at that. And to tell you the truth, during his first 2 to 3 projects, I was a big fan of his because I felt the sincerity in what he was trying to do. I see him as a cat who was deliberately trying to do that, who was trying to take, because Kendrick comes from that street backpacker battle rap atmosphere.
I was about to say he's a mixture of street and backpacker together. Yeah,
That's a crazy kid.
Which means he's progressive because he's not trying to go back to the hood. He's not trying to do that dumb stuff.
Exactly.
I hate to say it, we were talking about Young Dolph. Kendrick Lamar is not going to go down the route that Young Dolph went down. No. Go ahead. Continue. Good point.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the thing with Kendrick is that he also understood that if he's going to be a quote unquote great rapper, he's going to have to know how to take all of that and make it pop.
Yeah.
Make it popular. Somehow turn that and give the everyday person the capacity to be able to take in.
You know what he is? He's hip hop AI. You put it into that head, and then he spits out
right?
Hip hop AI.
He's definitely hip hop AI for the average person who'll be able to make somebody who doesn't necessarily listen to that hyper lyrical rap feel like, oh, this person is layered. They have complexity. This is why his fans have gotten into the whole ritual of decoding everything he does.
Because the arrangement of his songs and his lyrical patterns are complex. That's why.
Exactly. And he's built this up very elegantly to the point where even in his aesthetic and image, there's always more than one layer. And so people who followed him have been taught to think like this about him through his music.
But we have to remember that complexity is aesthetic. He still needs to work on his message and content, though. But the aesthetic effect puts some of the power of that into it. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm trying to like draw the backdrop into how I think this all came into play. And I think he was smart enough to realize in an era that was dominated by Drake that he had to take a different route in terms of how to be pop. Because Drake had practically cornered that rap R&B adjacent market that like was always the classical mold with rappers. You know, you take an R&B singer and you do something for the club. Drake was game-changing because he didn't need an R&B singer. He was an R&B singer and a rapper all in one. You know, he was the whole machine embodied in what he does. And that's why nobody could beat him at his game. And every rapper of his peer, you know, the Wale's, the A$AP Rockies, they all kind of felt at that moment that you either had to move with Drake, but there was no moving against it. And so you get to see historically, even as Drake came up, a lot of these rappers who were his peers went on tours with him. There was features around him. I mean, he was the guy that everybody had to kind of circulate around to get a bit of that magic. And that's why with this beef, for me, it was never even actually a beef. It was Drake versus the whole industry. You know, it was because there was always.
And when I say that, to me, I believe in niches. There's so many different types of rap. There's emo. Then let's look at, you were mentioning Drake. Kanye West has always been a separate industry of his own, because he does stuff which is sort of gospel and spiritual, that type of thing. He's always been around doing all. Then you had J. Cole, who's sort of like the conscious rapper, sort of J. Cole is like Common on steroids.
That's another topic.
Yeah.
Did you hear Common with a better flow and better writing? Let me stop. That's a terrible statement. Yeah, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but so I think lastly on that, it's like Kendrick wanted to compete with Drake, and he understood that there was one thing that Drake could not do. Cole understood the very same thing too, which was appeal to the deep ghetto experience, to the Black struggle. Because the thing about Drake is his background alienated him from really being able to tell those stories. He's not from that experience, and that's why the closest he can do is have the whole Drake stimulus package, where he gives younger artists who are part of that experience, the Young Thugs, the 21 Savage. Drake has a tradition of boosting the profiles of artists from the hood by putting them next to him. But he himself,
Toronto has street too, if you know what I'm trying to say. There's streets in Toronto.
Yeah, no doubt. But even I feel like even in Toronto,
in US.
I feel like even in Toronto, Drake would be a bit of an outlier.
Oh yeah, he's an outlier. But in defense of Drake, I don't think he's ever pushed. I don't think he's ever pushed himself as being a part of some authentic Black culture. I think he's more of a crooner, R&B, like a Frank Sinatra. He doesn't pretend to try. But I think he may have tried to get a little bit harder when Kendrick Lamar put heat on him. But before that, he wasn't trying to. He had a niche, and Drake also has a very good flow as an adaptable person. He brought up Migos and stuff. He's also good at taking different styles, but he doesn't make them complex like Kendrick Lamar does. But Drake can switch flow. He can switch flow, so he's adaptable, but he's not original or creative.
But this is where that's the gap.
We're gonna let you jump in, Fellow, in a minute. Then we're gonna go to Fellow, because I think Fellow has a point too. But finish off your point. Then we'll get back to you, V-Way. Then we'll go to Fellow.
Yeah. I'm gonna be quick with it. So that was the gap, because Kendrick has that authentic street background from Compton. He's attached to the whole lineage of Dr. Dre. So I feel like the moment Kendrick realized that was at the point where he was plotting on to Pimp a Butterfly. That was when he kind of went into that open opportunity to kind of capitalize off of the language and aesthetic of Black Revolution. When he was not, he knows that he's not about that life. He knows that he's not some kind of real radical. But I think as an artist, he saw himself as a part of a greater struggle to maybe turn pop music into something a little bit more socially aware. And from then on, I
think J. Cole was doing the same thing too, but J. Cole was just doing it from a more personal perspective rather than a perspective of culture. Yeah.
So I totally agree with your son's remarks about Kendrick, because I just wanted to place where I think it began, and the mindset Kendrick was in when he shifted.
Yeah, and at the same time,
competing with Drake.
Yeah, but I always say I don't think he's the best rapper, but Kanye is still the godfather, though, as far as making.
Don't get me started on Ye.
No, I'm not saying what I mean by the godfather is that he has his own little. Kanye is crazy.
That could be another one. We could make a whole other conversation.
The godfather. That's actually gonna be our next show, The Godfather. Yes. Okay, continue. Thank you. Very good show. Yeah.
Fellow, you can say something, bro.
There's not enough time to cover everything. Go ahead. Yeah.
So how I feel this thing got cultural, guys, is obviously Drake is Canadian, right?
Yeah.
He grew up.
That is Black American Canadian.
Yeah. Well, he is kind of Black, but he grew up Canadian. Via the show, the Gracie, him being a cripple and whatnot.
Child star.
So, yeah.
So that kind of like gave him like an
who has a similar background to him though? Tupac. Tupac went to the
well, now we're comparing
Kendrick and was an actor.
Kendrick and him. Let's leave Pac out of this shit, bro.
Oh, no, I'm just saying. So it's not just about nationality. Tupac is a well-trained theatrical person. So he had like I won't say he had a privileged background. You know who else had a privileged background? Pimp Juice. Pimp Juice comes from a middle-class family. Also Kanye. Those guys are middle class. And if you notice, Kanye doesn't rap about the streets. I mean, he raps about it, but he doesn't talk about it.
but still he's from a black background. The background is black.
This is another topic. But Drake is black.
Still
he's black.
Stories.
Drake is black. His mom, his dad. I keep telling people he's black.
Break it down. I want to say this.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to fellow, but Drake is black.
Yeah. So this is American black culture we're talking about. Hip hop from America that is rooted in very black roots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then this guy is here from Canada with a almost white background, and he's been crowned, let's say the king. He's like the new Michael Jackson.
Anybody in America who really follows rap seriously thought that he was the king. The pop chart said that, but
the pop hip hop, because that's the one that's eating.
If you remember,
you remember
3 years ago they gave 3 years ago. Okay, but hold on. Just one fact. 3 years ago.
No, just listen.
Okay, well, hold on. GQ gave Future best rapper of the decade. Nobody's ever said Drake is the best rapper.
I'd give Future the best rapper of the decade. Yeah.
I'm not going to say I agree or disagree, but I don't think in America nobody ever thought Drake was the king of rap. That's what I'm saying. But go ahead. Yeah.
But he's being awarded as the greatest in the sports.
Yeah, because of record sales. That's why.
Exactly what I'm saying. But the war right now is saying he is buying the numbers, or he is manipulating the numbers. But the culture is not really about it. It's not really on him. It's not really following what he is on.
Okay.
It's like he's making songs for ladies, but not really for the hip hop culture.
Okay. So here's what my argument. This guy was really relevant for hip hop. He's been relevant for hip hop since he came up with Lil Wayne. He was having battles with Meek Mill. Living in America. Let me tell you, living in America, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Most black people fuck with Drake's music more than they do with Kendrick, because it's just too out there. A little bit. Most black people.
Definitely.
And I'm keeping it real. When I was hanging out,
I'm not even American, and I can sense that.
Every year. I remember one day I was reading Drake. I was like, I better have your loving. And some black boys, they said, yo, that old motherfucker know all Drake's words. That old motherfucker know. Everybody was listening to him. You know that song?
Because it's pop, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. He's a pop artist. And if you want to talk about Kanye is also bridging that guy. He's not fully deep. He's also like a pop.
But Kanye is pop and pop soul.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is that in America, if you go to the hood, same thing. The biggest album that I heard in the hood in the last 20 years was In the Club by 50 Cent. Everybody was listening to it. So what I'm saying is that Drake makes fun music. He makes fun music. And typically, even when jazz was number one in America, it was Louis Armstrong. It was a pop music, which wasn't an art form. So what I'm saying is that they like entertainment. So Drake actually does better in the hood. All these songs like Kiki, Are You With Me? Everybody, when I would go to school, all the kids would be singing it. So the thing is that Kendrick Lamar will have to brand himself as a cult figure, sort of like classical music. Not everybody listens to it.
That's what he became,
yeah. But when it comes to
add something there?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
He would have to be the cult figure who capitalizes on everything Drake isn't. And here are some of the fundamental problems with why Drake is not that transcendent of a rap figure. If he had these qualities, he would have been the greatest rapper ever. The problem with Drake is the first thing that Fellow mentioned. He's Canadian. And that matters because in the context of how hip hop grew,
not just Canadian.
Right? I want to build this up. The Canadian element makes it difficult, but still, if he was a dark-skinned Canadian, I feel it wouldn't have been that challenging.
Or a white boy. Remember
and then thirdly, hold on. Wait, and then thirdly, he's a light-skinned Canadian from a middle-class background who was a child star. So he's so many things that quote-unquote authentic street niggas have literally dissed from the moment that rap music became popular. We all know that the image of the rapper that Mustafa's talking about right now is the dude from the street who hustled his way into the game.
Kodak Black is the example.
Kodak Black have that connection with the hood.
To me, Kodak Black is my favorite rapper, man. That guy's a bluesman.
Right?
He's the realest thing
So
you can relate to.
That's the thing about Drake. This is Drake. This is Drake's Achilles heel, so to speak, is that he could never, no matter how much he wanted. Drake is so skillful as a rapper. He knows how to write pop songs. He knows how to collaborate. But it's these cultural elements of his background.
If Drake had been American, he would have been common. He would have been common.
It's always turned him into a meme. You know, those Drake is the kind of guy that will cry and say, I needed this meme. You know, those kind of memes. Drake has been a meme for hypermasculinity.
I was telling fellow that when I lived in South Africa in 2008, I used to drink what's that drink? Scissor with Sprite and codeine.
Yeah.
I listen to fireworks and think about my girlfriend after she dumped me. I would drink it and I would romanticize. That's what Drake is. That fireworks was fantastic, man.
But that's the power of it, and that's ultimately why I respect Drake more. There's an interview that Drake did with the Rap Radar podcast, Elliot Wilson and all of them, where Elliot asked him, people say you've never addressed the Black struggle. What do you have to say about it?
Who?
And Drake's answer for me was super profound. Drizzy says, look, man, I do not know enough about politics to immerse it into my art. The way that I make a change is by making people feel good. My role as an artist is to bring the feeling, right? And I respect that more than a guy.
So he shouldn't
have a guy that acts like he's here to change the world when he's just making money for himself. That's for me why.
Let me give him credit also. Sorry, I'm gonna go to fellow. Let me also give him credit because he gave credit to Migos and put those guys on the map, which helped, which changed Atlanta. And without Drake, we wouldn't have seen Future and the Atlanta sound right.
To
be honest with you, Atlanta
no lie. He put in a whole lot of, even Kendrick Lamar. He put in a whole lot of cash, bro. He put in a whole lot of cash. But the only problem with him is his culture, his cultural background doesn't allow him to take the status, like the king status.
I think all the status is wrong. We need to do away with it anyway. Forget about it. Let's just make the music. And we can always argue who's the best, but it doesn't have to get to this point at which it now turns into a sort of activism. And white folks are making money off of this. Everything. It's
and also
they're exploiting Black culture. And the irony is that Kendrick Lamar is now a tool of white exploitation, whether he realizes it or not. And my son also said something.
The beef is controlled, guys. It's under the same label.
Would you guys agree with me that? V-Way, sorry, then I'll get back to you. Would you agree with me that even that They Not Like Us, the whole performance smells of minstrelsy from back in the 1920s in America? It's sort of like a minstrel, what I would call it, a minstrel. What's the word when something is not the actual thing? It's like mocking. It's not actually what Black culture and music actually sounds like. The whole performance.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
And also, it's sending out the message that, oh, I'm Black. Look at me. I'm dancing. I got so much joy. I don't even have to address the social economic thing or why Crips and Bloods are the Black family in America now. And they're even wearing their colors in the Super Bowl. They say it was the American flag.
But that's the thing about Kendrick,
and then they have
Kendrick is all about platitudes. He's all about aesthetics.
Aphorism.
And he's all about these things that have classically been identified with Blackness. And he wraps that all up and he repackages it back to the same people who are actively going to the struggle in the form of kitschy pop songs that feel inspirational. And here's the thing, I don't have qualms against Black artists who want to use the aesthetic of radical revolution to inspire. But be honest about what you are.
Yeah, there's been many. And also another thing, he's going after the wrong king. He wants to be known as the king, but he's going after Drake. Drake is not. He needs to identify some other rappers and say, "Oh, I'm." You get my point. He's picking fights that he can win. Sort of like Eminem getting in a battle with this is a terrible one.
Exactly.
No, who's the girl that beat Eminem? No, Eminem got in a battle with Mariah Carey, but he won't do that shit.
Crucial point, brother Mustafa. Crucial point. Can I just say something on this whole thing? Yeah. Kendrick is the one that picked this fight. We must always remember that because people act like Drake ruffled these feathers first.
No.
By acting sour over the Control mention and then sneak dissing him through the following years. This all started.
No.
It started when those guys said we're the three best. They say we're the three best.
A lot of people, when you look at the public discourse about this, people think that Drake started this, and you can tell how much they don't know the timeline of how these two artists have interacted. Because Kendrick, Kendrick was the first one who threw an active shot towards Drake. Y'all remember the BET style? Nothing's been the same since they dropped Control and tucked the sensitive wrap up in his pajama clothes.
Oh, yeah.
That was the move that Kendrick.
Even though Drake is a businessman, even Drake can't take that too much of that. So he now came into the battle. He joined the battle.
The biggest conspiracy is
Kendrick has been wanting to beef for over 2 years. He wanted
the biggest conspiracy is Drake killed Triple X. If you listen to
I don't believe that.
Yeah,
even if it's true, there's no proof.
But if you listen to Kendrick subliminals from
but Kendrick Lamar, he needs to be very careful. So here's another topic.
To the extras to he keeps hinting on that. Even the song Peekaboo is also a hint on that.
I feel you, fellow. I feel you.
Yeah. So there's been that type of conversation in their music, you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Kendrick Lamar. He makes allegations in a lot of his songs. For example, he's calling and my son brought this up. He said that he's saying that Drake is a pedophile and this and that.
Yeah,
but
he said that
straight. He
metaphor
with predators. This guy moves with predators. The whole hip hop is pedophile as far as I'm concerned. All of these guys, we've seen with the Diddy stories, all these rappers, and then he moves with Dre, who's a predator. I'm not talking bad about Dre, but let's be real. A lot of these guys are predator types. So,
yeah.
He does a song which is supposed to be an anthem of.
Exactly. Here's my thing on that. You ever notice how Drake gets a lot of flack for things that have existed way before him? People act like he spoiled rap because he soured it with all of these songs about girls and being pop adjacent. 50 did that. LL did that. Hope did that. Kanye did that.
In the club
whenever Drake, and I think it's because Drake is an amalgamation of everything niggas love to hate. He's light-skinned. He's from well-off background. He's not really American. And his mother is white.
And not only that, he's an executive level. He's not an executive level as a producer. He's an executive level guy.
Exactly. But I think
Drake is not a rapper. He's a rapper, but he's more of a businessman, like Jay-Z.
The same thing that makes Drake so hyper impressive is the same thing that people have been trying to cut him down on for years. And I think what this whole moment was, it was a culmination of all of that. All of these guys that have worked with Drake, I feel like most of them never liked him to begin with, but they
never liked him anyway. They never liked him anyway.
Yeah. The whole aura of what he represented in pop culture was too much for them to ignore because everybody wants to go to the top.
They had to go through him because he was a gatekeeper. So they're like, I can't say that like
Drake is learning a really hard lesson because I think he was naive enough to actually think that some of these guys
we thought they had love for him. Yeah.
Yo, Drake came in as a businessman, man. You see, a whole lot of these artists.
Same thing as Jay-Z.
Yeah, but a lot of these artists start from the bottom. They do their own shit from scratch. Drake has a couple of people doing his things, and it's just easier for him.
Let me tell you the truth. Drake needs to thank Canada. They have some of the best DJs in the world, man, and producers. Those motherfuckers. Who's that guy that has that song Lemon? What's the name of that guy that does that song Lemon? All that DBI, Suicide Doors. That guy from Canada. I think he's what's the guy's name? He has a song called Lemon, or I'll find Lemonade or something like that. Yeah. I'll find out.
I don't know.
You guys keep talking. I'll find out the guy.
Yeah. So I think
and also his first producer, E40 or 40 or whatever that guy's name was.
Yeah, 40. That's like his best friend. That will always be the guy beside him. And I think that duo is important because another thing that people can't take away from Drake is that he carved out a sound of his own. What he did with 40, that ambient, minimal, stripped down stuff. I remember when
I remember the guy's name, the guy from Canada, Nav. He did a song with Don Toliver.
Oh, yeah.
Nav. The only reason that guy made
remember,
it, Drake gave that guy a shout out. That guy is a very good producer. He does stuff with Gunna and other guys, Don Toliver and stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm not that deep on that, but that's the thing. With this whole thing of sculpting a sound, Drake created his own sound, and I don't think people give him the credit for that because
he has rhythmical signatures. He has signature rhythmic phrases that are used, and they are used in trap music. Trap guys, even Future would tell you, man. He said Kanye and Drake, I modeled myself after these guys. So we don't want to hate on this guy too much because even though Kendrick Lamar is a hip hop AI, Drake to a lesser degree is not as complex, but he's also good at switching flows and doing new styles and creating new, like you said, rhythms.
Exactly, and that's why I tell a lot of cats. For me, Drake is the more culturally impactful artist because of that. I think, of course, I think Kendrick is doing
pop culturally. Pop.
Yeah.
Not only that, even hardcore rappers are using his phrase and rhythmic stuff too.
Right.
So what I'm going to say is that hip hop, just like jazz, it has different elements. Like some people are good blues, some people are good at phrasing. So what I'm saying is that if you're a rapper with a strong arsenal, you need to have motifs from Tupac, from Biggie, from Drake, from Eminem, Kanye, because they all do it. Hip hop is like jazz. People are mimicking each other and shifting it within themselves and
shifting it. Yeah, exactly.
And Drake is part of that conversation, whether people like it or not. Yeah.
If we're talking about the soundscape of how rap music, underground or pop, has sounded over the past 10 years, Drake is a crucial part.
And also, he also does quote. Drake will quote something from 1970.
Future is a crucial part, guys.
Oh, Future is the other man. So I think we already have. We have two shows.
Part of the whole 10 years.
The next show that we're going to do is going to be on The Godfather. Then we're going to talk about Future too. Any last thoughts, fellow? Then we'll go to V-Way. Good show, guys. This is fun. I already feel like this is already a show that's been going on for 6 years. You know what I'm saying? We're comfortable with each other. Also, V-Way, this is Fellow. Fellow is a very good musician. He's a rapper too, also, and a really talented writer. And he's crazy like me. We're the crazy blues boys.
Man, thank you.
I'll link up. I'll check the stuff.
And V-Way is he's a rapper, but you also you probably, to be honest with you have the best show I've seen in any genre that comes to talking about pop culture analytically. You do better than anybody. I
appreciate you.
Yeah. All right. So last thoughts, fellow, about this topic today. Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. I feel J. Cole could have been a part of this.
Oh yeah, J. Cole is very important.
Because he deserves his own episode.
Yeah, because it was the three kings. J. Cole,
Kendrick,
and these guys.
J. Cole would have ended this clearly and settled it very nicely. He stepped back because apparently maybe one of his friends told him, "No, bro, don't do this. Let me win. Let me get the 5 Grammys."
That's a bullshit. What are your thoughts?
I think that was a good decision, by the way.
Yeah. And also, it would have caused fights. It would have caused fights from East and the West.
At the end of the day, Kendrick is hurting his legacy because he's going to become the same thing Drake became. People are going to say he's a sellout because of this becoming an avatar for a sort of shallow movement. If you notice, Kendrick Lamar, Future, all these other guys, they're just making their albums and they're keeping their mouths shut. You understand? And meanwhile, guys like Gunna and all these guys from Atlanta, this is still the center of hip hop.
J. Cole has a new song out.
And those guys don't argue about who's the best. They just make music. That's it.
Yeah, true.
What were you gonna say?
My last thoughts.
Last thoughts, V-Way. Hold on.
J. Cole
let's
has a new song out.
One more time. Then V-Way.
Yeah. J. Cole has a new song out, guys. Go listen to it and tell me what you think on the next show. Yeah, that's my last word.
In fact, our next show will be about J. Cole. We can put the Kanye West one down. We can kick the can down.
I like that.
Kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
So I think we can agree that now we'll try to do shows every 2 weeks, sometimes even every week, but it depends on time and resources. Okay. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, V-Way? Yeah.
My thoughts are both Kendrick and Drake are nothing new in the historical landscape of Black music, pop music, and the American culture. I think they represent two polar opposite sides that artists have always tried to occupy. You either go hyper pop or you try to embezzle a little bit of conscience into your pop, but it's still pop. Even people like Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder went through those phases. James Brown had the whole "I'm black and I'm proud" phase. This is nothing new. And I think ultimately that's what Kendrick will be. He'll just be another rap artist or another artist, another black artist who capitalized from the language of freedom, inspired people, but never actually worked the deep down roots of the matter, capitalism, colonialism, and all of that. So I respect Drake more because he's honest about who he is, and he's not trying to act like he is a political leader. And I feel that he's way more sincere. What I love about art is sincerity.
Yeah, so let me tell you who I respect the most. He may not be an artist, but if you want to talk about political power, let's talk about Chuck D, man. That's all I got to say. Public Enemy. America will never let Public Enemy do the Super Bowl. They will never allow that.
See, now they were the real thing.
Hey, yo. And white folks will never co-sign on that. Even Steve's too.
Yeah, white folks didn't get the contract. Steve, bro.
Sincerity.
Chuck D is the man. Chuck D is so good that I don't even know if he's an artist. He's more of an activist. He's an activist. Chuck, you know what it is? Yeah. Chuck D is a griot. He's a griot. Would you agree? Like those guys in West Africa.
Definitely. He's a griot. Chuck D. And I think a lot of people would then further say, don't you think Kendrick Lamar is a future griot? Not at all.
No. Because he's done. It's always at inception. If he hasn't done it
exactly, because Kendrick doesn't understand the root of the traditions to the language that he's using to become pop. Yeah. You hear his opinions on politics. Kendrick he raps about having land in Germany, buying expensive cars, and then he'll make the song for the struggle. I mean, it's the same goddamn
Chuck D is the man. And like you said, you mentioned the roots. Yeah. You have to remember,
I think that's what actually happened with like Joey Perez. You know, he started off rapping struggle and whatnot, and once he got cash, he couldn't get in touch with his struggle rap anymore.
He couldn't handle it. Yeah. But going back to what you said, V-Way, about the tradition. So everybody knows that hip hop is basically, remember, I've done my papers on West African music. It's basically rhythmical poetry. And Chuck D knows, if you listen to his music, there are rhythm complexes and everything. And it's combined with the message and with the soul and the pain and the whole experience so that it's one performance. Right. And everything. Whereas Kendrick Lamar can do the syntax. He knows the shape of the beats and everything, but he doesn't have a unified message. What are your last thoughts about that, V-Way? Yeah.
My last thoughts about that is the lack of his unified message is exactly what's going to render him as just another pop artist who colored the air with a little bit of inspiration, but no revolution and radicalism whatsoever. So I'd rather celebrate the fact that this year is the 25th anniversary of Let's Get Free by Dead Prez, to remember.
Okay, we're going to talk about that too.
There are artists like that who will never be celebrated on that level, but we're doing the actual ground roots work of being Black radical activists, rappers, and artists. I keep telling people, Kendrick, if Kendrick is useful for anything, it's being a pathway to the real rap activists.
Also, Kendrick can be a good producer too, because with his rhythm,
he's a toy. He's a fucking toy. Right.
All right, guys. So this is beautiful. So I'll give a shout out to your show, V-Way, your YouTube channel. What's the name of it again? The Headspace.
Oh yeah. Please, it's the Headspace. So that's THA and Headspace with an H3. Check it. Or you can just go on my profile, V-Way Joker. Everywhere. I'm on X. Because it's still a lucrative space to network. If anybody wants to get in touch with what I do, which is I'm basically rapper / critical theorist and somebody with an opinion on everything.
Because your channel is so good. Are you running it by yourself, or do you have people backing with you that work on production and stuff? Because it's really good.
Oh no, it's a brotherhood. It's a trifecta. That's why there's a 3 in Headspace.
The work is so good. Yeah, I was thinking, I know you're talented, but one person couldn't polish it up this good. It's like watching an HBO. Have you ever watched HBO movies? And I'm like, man, their characters are so complex. They have a team of people working together. So that's good. And also, we'll give a shout out. And if I can send you some of the raw footage. I'll send you this recording. If you want to re-edit and put something on your site, you can. I don't care. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And also,
appreciate it. I'll send you the email.
Yes, I'll just send you the footage, and you can do with it whatever you want. Fellow, tell us a background about what you do, who you are, and give any shout outs to any of your projects. Yeah.
Hey man, it's fellow blues. Everywhere on YouTube, all DSPs, obviously painting, digital artworks also. Oh, and we got a new show coming on with Mr. Moose in a few, maybe 2-3 weeks.
Hold on, V-Way. So V-Way, he's doing something similar to what you do, where you go into different locations and talk to some of their local rappers and heroes, and have those. They're gonna have one where they're doing. So we're doing one.
That's something like that going on.
What's that thing that where they talk about the lyrics?
Oh, a breakdown. Then we're gonna have breakdowns and whatnot.
Breakdown, like the app breakdown, where rappers break down their lyrics and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah. Man, let's push the culture. Love it.
Let's push the culture, bro. Me and my homie TSO, we have a tape coming called Wow.
Okay.
I'm not sure when it's dropping, probably February, but we're still working on some other visuals.
Yeah. What about you, V-Way? You're too busy with your productions to be a rapper. You used to rap all the time, because you were like my favorite rapper back in the day, because you were sort of cosmic. You remind me of Diggable Planets or something.
Yeah. Look. The critical.
You gotta do some chamber shows with people playing violins and cello and spit. I'm not being funny.
See, right now it's ironic that we're talking about Kendrick, because I often find my music situated in a place where I think a lot about what I want it to be. I want it to be more than just currency. I want it to be more than just my way of expressing my own emotion and skill. I'm looking for the right platforms, but there's definitely going to be a lot coming up pretty soon. And that's all I can actually say for now. But I definitely will never stop rapping.
I'm getting excited because what I'm seeing with the three of us here, and with what I've been trying to do, because I believe South Africa is a fantastic, and I'm not exaggerating, has the best jazz musicians I've seen anywhere. In America, you have technically a South African can pick up a saxophone and use their traditional singing and stuff, and within weeks they master the saxophone within their own idiom. Painters, conceptualists, even the political movement in South Africa. South Africans are the most critical. They don't trust anybody. They don't trust blacks, whites, Americans, Nigerians. They don't even trust themselves. So South Africa is a critical country, and a lot of great things are coming. So what we're doing now is we're pushing the culture, because I'm in DC. You're in Durban, right?
I'm in PE.
Okay, I don't know why I always keep thinking you're in Durban, but anyway. So and then I keep saying that's like a mental something with my brain has gone wrong. I think you know what it was. You were linked to some people like what's that lady that sings well, Blue Baba? Is she in Durban?
She's in Josie.
No. She's in Josie.
You guys move.
She's in Joburg. She's in first
like that guy, the saxophonist, Manla. I used to go to school with him in University of Cape Town. One minute he's in Cape Town, the next minute he's in Joburg, the next minute he's in New York. But the point I'm making is that this is how we start pushing the culture, because you guys have your own communities. I really don't have a community outside of the internet, to be honest with you. But you have your community on ground. And the idea is that we're all trying to start aligning ourselves with each other so that we can start, who knows what type of movements can come forward. Because Africa is at a point where it's 100% potential. That's a good thing. There's no ceiling right now. The ceiling has already been met in America. Basquiat is dead. There will no longer be a Basquiat come out of America anymore. But I tell you, I know artists in South Africa who are better than Basquiat. I'm not lying. I'm not exaggerating. But anyway, so take us out, fellow. You'll take us out today since you're the youngest, I think. Like the elders are having you take us out. Any last thoughts?
It's like Disha.
Fellow, you there? Or did he cut out?
Yeah, this is what I got for you guys.
Okay. Oh, look at Fellow's work.
Man.
It kind of reminds me of the backdrop here too. So where are you now, V-Way?
I am at the Wax Spot. This is the headquarters where we shoot we do everything. We do all our creative endeavors. This is
what you're doing, because you're like the Lennon of hip hop, because you're organizing shit, man. You guys have a team together.
Yo, there's no other way. I mean, if the only luxury is time right now.
Lennon and Stalin, those guys, man, were well organized.
Hey, V-Way. I think we have to work, bro.
We got to work, fellow. Satachana, bro. Don't even worry about it. I've been watching you, Dalan, for a minute. And I'm thankful for this moment to interact with you, and definitely, my brother, it's kindred spirits aligning. So we gotta be that works. But this is the home of a homie of mine. We call it the wax spot. We do everything out here. Maybe when we can only meet out here, because I mean it becomes a vibe. It becomes a vibe. If you saw the other side of this room, you'd see a whole.
You're in Port Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
When you said P, I was thinking about Pretoria. So yeah, so you're on the Eastern Cape, that area, which is close to Durban, but it's not Durban. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is a home that belongs to a friend of mine, and we basically, we dedicate our time to expanding the culture, doing what we can.
Yeah, like I said, you're the Bolsheviks of hip hop, of culture. Push the culture. That's another story. Have you done a lot of reading on? I'm fascinated by Lenin and Stalin. Those guys were crazy, man. They took over a whole empire, and I still haven't figured out if Stalin is a psychopath or he's just if he's just paranoid or both. What do you think? I don't know. Yeah,
I think he's a psychopath.
I think that's both. I think it's both. I think
he's both. Yeah, but you know what?
When you're a psychopath, you'll be paranoid. So he's a psychopath.
Paranoid, but I'm not a psychopath, but I'm paranoid. But I'm a maniac. Well, but maniac is different.
Because you are conscious. That's because you are conscious and you are always looking at.
It depends on your upbringing. I won't lie to you. I grew up in black church with grandmas.
Let me put it to you this way. Let me put it to you this way. I think a psychopath is somebody whose paranoia still finds useful gateways to express itself, and that's the only reason why you haven't brought the whole house down you. So
but let's use another person. Putin is a psychopath. Correct. Okay, but let me give you an example. Psychopath actually means cold-blooded. So Putin is a psychopath, but he's not paranoid, and he doesn't do actions that he doesn't have to do. But he would do that.
I would argue Putin is a psychopath because he's paranoid, but that's another show.
Oh no, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's now you're delving into cognitive science. I think your theory is good.
Right?
But he's able to control his paranoia. He's able to control
it.
Okay, we're on to another topic. Okay, guys, thank you. Brilliant show. So we'll talk about it. Either we'll do a show next week or the week after. And I think we agreed that we would talk about what was the show?
J. Cole.
J. Cole. And also, I'm going to take notes on every topic we brought up because there's still some other things.
I'm gonna enjoy this one. I'm gonna enjoy this one because J. Cole is probably I call J. Cole the most wholesome rapper of all time.
Oh yeah, he is, and he's very good, and he's honest, and he may not be the most talented, but his body. This is going to
be a one-way topic, a one-way conversation because J. Cole is winning on this one.
What about you? I know. Fellow's favorite rapper or artist is what's the guy, the one who passed away, the white guy who passed away from opiates.
Miller.
Huh?
Miller.
Miller, that's the boy. That's the man. We'll talk about him too. All right, yeah. Okay. I like Mac Miller.
Man.
But yeah, so we're gonna talk about J. Cole. No, I remember because I was in South Africa when J. Cole came out, man. With Crooked Smile and all that shit. That was fantastic shit, man.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to be. I used to hang out in. I used to hang out in Observatory. Get drunk. You don't want to be. We used to listen to that all night. That was the golden. That was a sort of like a small golden era. You had Eminem. No, you had Kanye. You had J. Cole. You had Drake. Man, that was. And then during that period when Kanye came out with and then Drake came out with what was it, Pound Cake and all that. Those were fun days.
Yeah. Nothing was the same.
Yeah, nothing was the same. All right, guys. Beautiful show. So either next Friday, we'll do this every Friday. Either next Friday or the Friday after. I'm hoping that we can do it next Friday. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Peace, brother.
All right.
Peace, bros.
Okay. Peace. Okay. Excellent. Fantastic show.
How do I leave here?
I know, me too. I'm so stupid. I can't get out of here.